Okay, imagine it's 1996 and you are America's biggest rapper.
Okay.
People call you Black Jesus.
Ooh, I like that.
We're talking about Tupac. We're not saying that she's Black Jesus.
No, I'm not Black
She's
Jesus.
not Black Jesus.
I'm not nearly as cool as Tupac.
But put yourself in that mindset of that's the level of how people love you.
Yeah.
That they regard you as close to being, you're as close to Jesus in their eyes.
Yeah.
Just imagine being that popular.
Well, I mean, everyone in the music industry knew him, loved him, respected him.
Still to this day.
Even if they didn't love him, they still respected him because his
talent was undeniable.
Yeah.
So like I said, hello, my name is Sarah.
And my name is Mom.
Today we're going to be talking about Tupac Shakur and his mysterious death until recently.
Yeah.
There is tons of conspiracy theories and just random drama that makes no sense around his death.
Yeah, really.
So we're gonna talk about it. Two of the whitest people are going to talk about hip-hop.
Yeah.
Okay, so did you know, or do you know about him?
I know, I don't know as much as I would like to have known about him. He was pretty amazing.
Yeah,
I mean,
the accomplishments within a 6 year, like 6 years before his death, nobody even knew his name.
Yeah.
And to become like a, massive record-selling artist within 6 years of your career in 1996, it's pretty difficult to do.
Some of the biggest names in the industry wanted him.
Mm-hmm.
He could have went to any label he ever dreamed about wanting to go to.
Yeah.
People around the world knew him. He was massive.
Yeah. So, for background context, did you know his parents were Black Panthers?
I didn't. I
didn't know that until researching. So that played a really big role in his life.
Yeah.
And his music, and that's probably why the police were not his favorite people.
Yeah.
Because at the time, and still to this day, there was not a whole lot of good standing. There wasn't good standing between the police and Black Americans at the time.
Well,
still to this day, but it was.
But it was really harsh back then.
There was a lot of stigmatism, a lot of racial tensions were high.
Yeah.
Especially in the areas that he grew up in.
Yeah. And, from what I understand about the area that he was from in California, it's not pleasant to be there. Doesn't matter what color you are.
Yeah, it's not
it's just not.
It was a rough area to live in.
Yeah, a lot of gang fighting and drug use and things like that. And I was really shocked because not that I thought that he was going to be this big drug dealing thug, but he was pretty straight up not in that kind of stuff.
He did dabble in drugs. There was drug use, but
for the most part,
yeah, he tried to do drug dealing for a little bit, and I think his friend said he gave it up in like 2 weeks because people were handing him like their wedding rings, and he couldn't take that. He couldn't sell someone drugs for your wedding ring.
Yeah.
You know, like, he was too kind-hearted for that.
And, he could have been a really big asshole.
Oh, yeah.
About...
He could have let
like,
anger control him, but his mom sent him to a school before he moved to California.
Yeah.
That was an arts school.
And that's amazing that she got to do that. Because
it was a public art school, and it still wasn't, like, the best school, but it was where he discovered his talent for acting and, because he's a good actor, too.
Yeah, it's amazing.
The bumps that you hear in the background is our cats.
You know,
as
our
per
cats.
usual, if you listen to our podcast on a regular basis, you will know that we have cats just running around.
Yeah. But, I was amazed that he pulled himself up.
Yeah.
He wasn't a really, now,
he did hang
liked
around
to fight.
Yeah, he did hang around some.
He did like to fight. I was shocked about that too, because I just assumed that, everybody likes to play the bad boy, but no one really likes to. But he would just...
No, he would fight.
He just walked up and,
to me.
And, took care of business.
Now, his mom, I was watching a documentary and they actually interviewed his mother.
Yeah.
She did admit that she was a crack addict.
Yeah.
And that part of her life,
yeah,
messed up. It changed how he perceived her, and was also a contributing factor in why he didn't dabble in certain drugs.
Yeah.
Just because he didn't like,
Well, he saw what it did.
Eventually, before his death, his mom did get cleaned up, and she was a part of his life again.
That's so great.
And,
if you look at the overall picture of what he did about, because, like, I heard one young lady say he could make a song about, like, doing the worst things to women and then turn around and make the softest, sweetest melody about women. And I think that just shows the range that he had.
Well, in my opinion, I think a lot of times certain things people take out of context.
Yeah.
With art, because music is art. And it's like how you feel in that moment, like, like Eminem with his wife.
Yeah.
He wrote, his ex-wife. He wrote a few songs about hurting her, and it was like, they're not great songs.
No.
Well, they're good songs, but they're not, the message isn't great.
Yeah.
I should say. That doesn't mean he actually wants to go and do that. That's how he's feeling in that moment. So I think he was able to take how he was feeling. Sorry if you could hear that my neighbor's car is loud.
Yeah.
But like I was saying, I think he could take how he was feeling, translate it into music, and a lot of people can identify with what he was saying.
Yeah. Because you could say, there's a few good songs like that, but you can say, like, F the police.
Yeah.
And not really mean that. You mean, like, they've done me wrong, I am lashing out.
Yeah.
But not actually mean it.
Yeah, there are ways to get the message across of, he was speaking for a lot of people and who didn't have voices.
And sometimes being blunt is the only way.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to say, hey, that was wrong. I think you're wrong.
Yeah.
And I kind of, you have to admire that part. Yeah, his songs had a lot of vulgarity, and
But so does everything. I think.
yeah, I mean,
you know, the media is and was still oversaturated with,
yeah,
you know, X-rated content.
yeah,
To the point where now kids don't even like that.
yeah.
They're sitting there saying they want less sex in, you know, in shows and stuff. So, you know, he was super popular.
Yeah.
Super popular. To the point where he actually was so popular, people hated him.
Yeah. Well,
And
that comes along with fame.
you know, everybody knows the whole rivalry between Tupac and Biggie.
Yeah.
He literally wrote a song about wanting to sleep with his wife.
Yeah.
And
But Biggie also wrote a song about, I think it's called it's on the next page.
yeah, I've got notes.
Yeah, it's like right. Why did you die or something like that, or who killed you?
Oh yeah.
And you know, Biggie. A lot of people thought that he did it.
For a little while, there was the ongoing conspiracy theory that Biggie killed him, but at the same time, like I don't even think he was in the area.
Well, I think even if he didn't do it, they might have assumed that he hired someone.
Yeah. Now,
because they were really big into this Anderson guy, the guy that he beat up that night.
Yeah.
Outside of, I guess he went to a boxing match of Mike Tyson's. And when they came out in the hotel or whatever area they were at, this guy had said something about somebody else, and
I actually know the real what
happened.
Okay. I know what happened. Okay,
all
so
right.
on September 7th, 1996, Suge Knight invited Tupac to go watch the Mike Tyson fight.
Okay.
And they get to this fight, and he was actually there with his girlfriend. She was his fiance.
Yeah.
He had just gotten unmarried from another girl.
Okay.
And he had proposed to her. I believe her name is pronounced Kita Jones. She's actually
Quincy Jones.
Quincy Jones' daughter.
Yeah.
And which is like crazy.
And if you don't know who Quincy Jones is,
you need to Google.
Yeah, you haven't been on this planet.
And you need culture in your life if you don't know who Quincy Jones is. You might know her sister Rashida Jones.
Yeah.
So her and his cousin, because her birthday is actually in the same month as Tupac's, so he invited her to Vegas to kind of celebrate together because they were really, really close.
Gotcha.
So the two girls, I guess one of the crew that they were with said, you guys gotta stay up in the room. Like, don't even come downstairs. They weren't even allowed to, like, go down to the casino.
And that's a mystery. I don't know
Which
why.
was very suspicious. But Suge Knight invites him to this fight. They are coming after the fight had already been over.
Yeah.
I guess Tupac was, like, really, really excited still about this fight.
Well, Mike won.
Yeah, Mike won. It was, like, a big, huge deal. And one of the guys that they're with was like, hey, in the lobby, he comes over to Tupac and he's like, in the lobby is this guy who is a part of, what's it called, records that they're at?
Oh, God. I can't remember.
Oh, my gosh. Anyway, Tupac's label that he's at is associated very closely with the Bloods.
Okay.
Well, the guy that was in the lobby is a Crip. If you don't know the very, 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 I'm not going to get into it, tumultuous fighting between the Bloods and the Crips.
Yeah. They're two very large gangs.
Two very large gangs, and that guy was a Crip. he had stolen, so I guess Suge Knight gave out these medallions, these,
oh, okay.
like,
yeah,
things,
I know
and
what you're talking about.
he would give those out to people that they were friends with to be like, you know, you're cool. So he gave one of those to this guy, and that guy stole it.
Ah.
He beat him up and stole it.
I do know that the guy's last name is Anderson.
Yes. Anderson, he was the dude that robbed the friend.
Okay.
And he had the medallion. And so Tupac was like, oh, well, we gotta go teach him a lesson. And so he's still like, kind of like hyped up about the Mike Tyson fight. And he goes and he just like punches him straight up in the lobby.
Wow.
And about 6 to 10 of Tupac's friends, and plus Suge Knight, beats the hell out of this guy.
Oh my.
Now, Tupac's best friend is, or one of his close friends, is actually his bodyguard.
Yeah.
I forget what his last name is, but his name is Frank, so we're gonna just call him Frank.
Frankie.
And Frank, he actually pulls Tupac off of the dude and is like, you gotta go, because like before they had gotten into the event, there were so many people out there waiting to go into the fight, and then when people saw that Tupac was walking in, it just started going wild, because people were like, oh my god, Tupac's here, and then some people were like, oh, we hate you, and it was like a whole, like, he was like, you actually need other people, so they had to get GMC, that was the name of the hotel that they were at, security guards to actually come and protect Tupac, because people were like getting really close to him.
I remember seeing pictures of this, because I'm that old, but I don't remember a lot of all of that.
Yeah, the footage I watched was crazy, him just trying to walk in the building and people pushing onto him.
Yeah.
And so he was like, you gotta get out. You gotta get off of this guy. You gotta stop fighting this man, or you're gonna be like arrested again. And he had already been arrested a couple of other times.
And he just got out of prison.
He had just gotten out of prison for assault.
Yeah.
So he was like, we gotta go. So they get in a car. Now, Suge Knight's in the driver's seat. Tupac's beside him in the passenger seat.
Yeah.
Frank is in the back seat, and then there's another man on the other side.
Okay.
As they're driving down, the Vegas Strip. Yeah. It's kind of like backed up traffic, so they're kind of like driving real slow, and there's, they keep having to stop. A white Cadillac, drives up beside them, and just starts shooting up the car.
Yeah.
And
I know, I think it's on the next page.
There was 14 shots in the car.
It's crazy.
Tupac was shot 4 times in the chest.
Oh, 2 times in the chest, once in the leg and once in the arm.
Yeah.
Sorry, I wrote that part.
That's okay. And I don't have my glasses on.
And Suge Knight was hit with a bullet fragment.
Yeah, he did get shot in the head, but it wasn't like it was like a scratch. It wasn't like fatal or anything.
I think they released him, didn't they, that night?
They I do believe they did. Yeah. And it took Tupac 6 days in the hospital to die. Keita Jones was actually in the hospital and was there with him when he passed away. And there's actually a lot of drama around the relationship that he was in. Now, by all accounts, Keita Jones is and was the love of his life. Yeah. She was the woman that he was going to marry, and he professed this to her multiple times and to other people that he chose her. Yeah. He also, for a little while, dated Jada Pinkett Smith.
For a little bit, for like 6 months.
Well, from what I understand, I was gonna say they were very on and off, kind of wild relationship where it was like.
Yeah, it wasn't like a serious thing.
Yeah, well, I'm not
From what
going
I
to
get,
sugarcoat it.
from what
The
I
man was a
remember.
player, and
Well, he was
almost none of his
adorable.
relationships were legit.
He was adorable. I mean, if you look at him, I'm sorry, he had that, like, cute little smile.
Oh my god, yeah.
And, I mean...
Absolutely. The most beautiful eyelashes. I'm sorry, I do have a crush on Tupac.
all the
You know, tons
girls,
of women loved him.
you know, all the girls was swooning.
And, well, Jada now says that he had proposed to her
I don't believe it.
when he, but see, okay, he proposed to her when she was in prison. When he was in prison, not she was in prison. When he was in prison. And that doesn't, somebody on TikTok was like, that doesn't add up, because at the time that he was in the prison she says he's in, he was married to another girl. He was married to Keisha.
And he was only there in that, from what I understand, he was only in that prison for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, because he was 6 weeks at one prison, at Chandler, I believe. It was a Chandler prison. And then he got transferred to this other prison.
Yeah.
And he was only there for like a couple of weeks. And he got married to Keisha in this prison.
Yeah. And
so how is he proposing to you if he's getting married to her?
Yeah.
And saying, you know, she was
how
like
can
his
he
manager.
be the love of your life?
Yeah.
If he's getting married to other women and, you know.
And at this time, other people around that was around Tupac said that he wasn't speaking to her at that time.
Yeah, they hadn't spoken for a long time.
And she also says in her little book about, and she's multiple times talked about how Tupac had alopecia. If you don't know what alopecia is, it's where you lose your hair and you become bald. She has alopecia. She's been diagnosed with it. She has a conspiracy theory that Jada doesn't actually have alopecia and she shaves her head to be like Tupac.
Well, she's obsessed with Tupac.
But
she is obsessed.
She really is obsessed with Tupac.
She's been obsessed with him for like ever.
Well, she likes to bring his name up when she starts losing fame. And like this is like damage control, and she's trying to be like, I'm Tupac's long lost love, because he's back in the news again because of the trial that's happening.
I'm not saying women can't have alopecia. I'm saying I don't know if she has alopecia, because if Tupac had it and he was diagnosed with it, you know.
This was something he did not like to speak about. I guess, from what I understand, he was assaulted by some police officers, like really badly. And after this assault, he lost all of his hair.
Well, say, okay, from what I understand, when you get your hair pulled out, and it's pulled out by the root, it's really hard for those hair follicles to grow back.
I actually know I have a bald spot from where my friend was playing with me and she stepped on my head on accident and ripped out my hair, and you can see that I constantly, no matter what I do, that won't come back.
Yeah.
So it's real.
Well, I got into a fight when I was younger, and I have a bald spot on the back of my head. My hair didn't grow back, and so maybe he didn't have alopecia. Maybe he...
Well, I think he actually was diagnosed with it, but he was not wanting that to be publicized.
Yeah.
And Jada is out here using it for money, to get money in her book, and on her TV shows, and all this stuff. And
his real wife, and the true love of his life, she's not speaking at all.
Yeah.
She
talked about him one time in she wrote a memoir for her father.
Yeah.
And she talked about her relationship with Tupac. And that's about it. That's the only time she's ever really done an interview. Now, there are people who are close to her that have put out statements, like, on behalf of her.
Oh, yeah.
And she is disgusted by what Jada is saying. Rightfully so. It's gross, in my opinion, to sit there and use someone that you claim to care about, something that they're insecure about and didn't want people to know about.
Exactly.
I mean, there was that one actor, oh my god, I cannot even remember, but he's like a very famous actor, in the 60s, 70s, or whatever, and, it turns out he was gay.
Oh, Rock Hudson.
Rock Hudson. Nobody knew for his entire life that he was gay.
Well, his close friends did.
Well, they did, but it was none of his close friends. Yeah. They waited, years.
He was married, he dated, he would go out with Elizabeth Taylor and people like that, and Joan Collins.
It wasn't...
He would be seen with women, but...
Yeah, it wasn't something that he wanted out there at the time, and his friends respected that. And that's the same thing, if I have cancer and I don't want millions of people to know about it because I'm embarrassed, then don't freaking say it.
Yeah.
She just needs to stop. I'm sorry. Jada is trying to do damage control because of the whole Will thing and the fact that she is a nobody actress and doesn't have anything going for her. Yeah. I'm sorry, I don't like Jada Pinkett Smith, I'm sorry.
Well, I think she ruined Will's career. She ruined his life for sure. Her kids, bless their hearts, What do they have to show?
Now, her kids, they're successful.
Well,
they got their own things going for them.
I'm talking about, with their family situation. It's sad that her daughter has to keep being on this show, reiterating how wonderful her mommy is, and her son, has to say, I don't care that you slept with my friend.
Yeah.
And her husband, she's embarrassed him beyond belief.
And she still to this day says that Tupac is her soulmate and they're soulmates. And it's like, ma'am, you're married with children. Just, leave him alone. He's been dead for 20-something years. And
now they're saying, now she's saying that, she and Will have been separated since 2018 or 19.
Yeah.
And that they really haven't ever gotten together and stuff like that. Well, how does that make her kids feel?
Yeah.
How is her children supposed to feel, oh, you didn't really love my dad?
You're in love with Tupac?
You're in love with a different man and you didn't care about my father when you were making me?
She just keeps bringing him up for absolutely no reason.
I know. Well, everybody knows because Tupac is going to be, he's a legend.
Yeah.
He's going to live in infamy. He's like Elvis.
And she wants her name attached.
And she wants that attachment so that she can get her fame because she's a fame whore, in my opinion. And she can't act, so she has nowhere to go with that. I mean, maybe she should look into G.I. Jane. It might bring her a little bit of fame,
Moving on.
In my opinion.
She's not that good of an actress, in my opinion.
It's G.I. Jane.
Okay. So, there's also, tons of conspiracy theories that are around this man's death.
Oh my god. Yeah.
I mean, there's the whole, Biggie killed him. Yeah. There's the whole thing that he was secretly gay. I saw something said that he was secretly gay and he was killed so that his gayness wouldn't come out.
Yeah.
Because it was not cool for a rapper to be gay at that time.
He's living in Jamaica.
Don't know where that came from. There is a guy in Jamaica.
Yeah.
Who looks just like Tupac.
Yeah.
He literally looks like Tupac. He's not Tupac. Tupac is dead.
Yeah. Well, now, we never saw the body.
Oh my god.
He could be. he has had albums come out since his death.
That were recorded before.
Possibly. Hey, it's like Elvis. I could dream.
Oh my gosh. So
him and Tupac are living on an island.
Elvis and Tupac,
Yeah,
are living on an island together.
why not? The best singer, the best rapper.
Okay, I guess Britney clone and Avril Lavigne clone, and
Oh, well, there's their women.
they're all there.
Yep, and don't forget Whitney.
Oh, and the Whitney, yeah. I don't know.
Somebody said that Suge Knight hired that Anderson guy after they beat the crap out of him to go and kill him, and he was the one in the white Cadillac.
Now, the guy, a man, I forget what his first name is, but they call him Keevy Davis Jr.
Okay.
I'm just gonna call him Dave.
Okay.
He admitted to killing Tupac, and he named multiple other people who were in the car with him at the time of the murder. So he is actually on trial right now for the death of Tupac.
Okay.
He claims, at one point he claimed that he wasn't the guy who shot him. He was just ordered to do the hit, but he couldn't do it. But the guy who was sitting in the passenger seat says he physically could not have shot at Tupac because the gun wouldn't have, he would have shot the driver.
Yeah.
Of his own car. So it's pretty much, hands down gotta be him that killed him. But there was also, from what I understand, a jury said that they have enough evidence that there was enough evidence to prove that P. Diddy had something to do with it, and he's been arrested and charged with the death, with ordering a hit on Tupac.
Okay.
So Diddy's also going to jail.
Wow. That's a lot.
From what I understand, and I could be wrong, so please let me know if I am wrong. From what I understand, Tupac was thinking about leaving his company.
Yeah, and Suge did not want that.
Suge Knight didn't want that because,
would you? Would you want to lose your biggest?
Like I said, they literally called him Black Jesus.
Yeah.
It's like having Jesus in your church and then another church wants him.
Yeah.
I know people are gonna be upset with me comparing him to,
But a lot of people would.
A lot of people did, so that's why I use that comparison. Not saying he's greater than Jesus. I just want to
saying that he is Jesus.
Or that he is Jesus. I'm not,
He was highly regarded.
That's like having the Beatles at your company and then they want to switch to another company.
Yeah.
So that was not really like a good thing. And I guess at some point Diddy was like, you should come to my company, and then he was like, maybe, and then he didn't do it.
Yeah.
And that really ticked him off. And if he would have left his company, they probably would have tanked. They only had him.
Yeah. Well,
and so the theory is that Diddy killed Tupac because of contract disputes, and the fact that Diddy owns most of Tupac's actual songs. So he has the copyright to Tupac's, like, his name, his likeness, like, tons of stuff.
That's messed up.
And so, or he owns a lot of it.
Yeah.
So, there's all that.
Yeah.
There's also the rumor that Suge Knight lured him to this, because from what I understand, Tupac didn't want to go to this game.
No.
He wanted to just go to Atlanta. There was some family drama that was going on at the time.
Yeah.
That I don't really know too much about. So I'm just going to say family drama. That he wanted to go back to Atlanta and, solve it out. He wanted to go and have his birthday in Atlanta. But, Suge Knight was like, no, you've got to go to this event. You have to go to this event. And basically persuaded him to go.
Yeah.
And, he didn't want to go. So if they would have listened.
Oh, if he had just followed his instinct, he would have been alive. Probably today.
Yeah. Well, he was only 28 when he died.
Yeah.
25.
Yeah.
He was really young.
He had a lifetime ahead of him. He had lived so much.
Yeah.
In his 25 years. And going from one marriage to another marriage.
Yeah.
Having, Quincy Jones as your father-in-law, that's a dream. And having all of this fame and fortune in a matter of 6 years.
Yeah.
Moving across country, twice? Was it twice that he moved?
I believe. His mom had sent him to California because from what I understand, she was in a very bad relationship.
Yeah.
with a man, and Tupac witnessed this man hit his mother, and he was kind of upset that he couldn't protect her, but she didn't want him to have to do that, so she sent him away, and she sent him from one bad situation into another bad situation. Not her fault at all.
No.
Because she was doing what she thought was right at the time.
Yeah.
And that was the best situation that she could do for him at the time. And, he got in with some wrong people, but that also led to the right places.
Yeah.
So, not everybody you see that comes from, a bad place or the bad part of town.
Yeah.
Is a bad person.
Exactly. And, I don't think that he was a bad person. I think he was a really good person, like you said.
Yeah.
He really cared. If he loved you, he loved you.
Yeah.
A lot. He took his cousin, a girl, to Vegas.
Yeah.
To have her birthday.
Yeah.
And to celebrate it. And he was going to live it up with her.
She told lots of really cute stories about how, he would, write, whenever he wrote, new lyrics for something, he would, show her the song, and, he'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm so awesome, listen to my song, listen how, and she'd just be like, you're crazy, and, one time she talked about how, he comes and he sits down on the couch, and he's got, he's pulling off his nice rings, and he's, fixing his collar and acting all,
Yeah.
big boss. And she's like, in 10 years, you can be something. You're gonna be a legend.
Yeah.
And he's like, I know I am.
Yeah, and he is. To this day, he's a legend.
I hope that he knows that.
Yeah.
And it was so sad to hear his fiance, Keita, she said that, she was with him in the hospital when he passed, and she said, I love you, we love you, and we always will love you.
Yeah.
And then he went into a coma, and he just never woke up.
That's sad.
But it's also beautiful because he went
knowing that she loved him.
That everybody loved him.
Yeah. And if you care about rap, it doesn't matter if you're white or black.
No, if you care about music, because his music inspired tons of other people across tons of other genres. Whether you liked him or not, whether you thought he was a good influence or a bad influence, you've got to admit that his songs changed how music is made. And, he didn't just affect the hip hop
Exactly.
or rap.
One of the guys that was talking in one of the interviews that I saw said that people got upset at him at the time because he could take your style and make it his.
Or
Because he was interchangeable.
Yeah, like his cousin was saying, you know, he could take and do, you know, a song that's like really raunchy and like,
Yeah.
oh my god, I can't believe he said that.
Yeah.
And then next minute do like the softest, sweetest little love, you know, almost love ballad rap.
Yeah.
You know, and do it both perfectly.
Yeah. And
he was very good at taking what he feels and putting it on paper and being genuine about it and not just being like, you know, one of those rappers who thinks that they're all this, they're all sus, they're all bark and no bite.
Yeah.
I should say. And there's a few of them nowadays that I would put in that category, and I'm not going to say who they are.
Yeah.
But he's one of those people who are like, when he is saying it, yeah, it's really aggressive and in your face, but when you take away, you know, when you strip it down to what it actually is,
Yeah.
you know, not to get philosophical or anything about, you know, like a Tupac song, but, you know, it means a lot, and it meant a lot to people. Especially because at the time, there wasn't people talking about what was really happening in these underprivileged areas.
Oh my god, yeah.
It was one of the biggest, you know, rappers to get kind of mainstream, I should say, but stay with his roots.
Yeah.
Of where he came from.
Yeah, and he inspired a lot of people. And no, I don't think he liked the police very much. I don't think he liked authority very much.
Well, I mean,
but
his parents were Black Panthers.
And he was black.
And
in America. And that's not very nice.
That's not a great experience a lot of the times, especially when it comes to the police.
Especially when the days that he was growing up. It's
Well, I mean, he was literally beaten by the police.
Yeah.
And you expect him to like the police? I'm just saying.
Yeah. I mean, he was probably harassed a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of the area that he lived in, he was probably harassed a lot. It's not fun or easy to talk about these kind of subjects, but if everyone doesn't talk about it, then nothing gets fixed.
Exactly. And it's not even, it's worse for people of color, but it's not even just a, like, black and white situation.
No.
It's an everybody situation because, you know, I've lived in some bad neighborhoods, or, you know, bad neighborhoods where bad people live.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's been times where I've been scared to, you know, go into my apartment building because there's the one creepy dude in the hallway. But, you know, there was about 5 other neighbors I knew for a fact I could run to.
Yeah.
You know, underprivileged areas are crime-ridden because there's no funding to them.
Yeah. And people think, oh, well, those are just poor, bad people. They don't need help. They don't
don't look over there. There's a poor person.
Yes.
You know.
But if you care about one another and love one another, then you can...
Well, it's not even just about loving each other. It's about minding your own business.
Well, respecting other people.
And just, you know, you stay over there and I will stay over here, and we don't have to, you know,
but see,
we don't have to fight about everything.
But that separates people. And
I'm talking about, like, people who got a problem with...
Oh, yeah.
With somebody. Like, the little girl who was just out there selling some bottles of water, you know, to you know, help out her mom because she was trying to, you know, start. She has a work ethic from a young age.
Yeah.
That's something to be encouraging,
We can go to Disney. We can go to Disney if we have the money. Well, I'm going
to get out and I'm going to find a way to make the money in a cute. I mean, I had a lemonade stand when I was little, and nobody accused me of loitering or, you know, disrupting place. You know, the place.
No.
You know why it's different? Because I'm white.
Yeah.
You know, that's a harsh reality that a lot of people are like, oh, we don't. Let's not talk about that.
Yeah.
Well, it needs to be discussed because right now in America, a lot of the conversation has to be about black people and white people.
Yeah. Or just brown people in general. I mean,
you have to come to the harsh reality that it's bad.
Yeah.
So how do we fix it? Let's stop talking about it's bad. Let's talk about, okay, yes, it's bad right now. How do we make it better?
I want to tell you a story. I worked in a...
I love how this conversation swayed from Tupac to America is trash.
Well, this has something to do with that sort of situation. I worked in an area where I was home health.
Oh, I know this
And
story.
I had 6 houses that I had to go to. And I was the only one there at night. So I would have to go through each house. And each house has to stay unlocked.
Right.
And I was working in Mesa, Arizona. And
if you've never been to Mesa, Arizona, you will know that it's not a joy to be.
it wasn't the rich part of town, let's just put it that way. And I would go through each house, and there was a field on the other side of the street. It was a cul-de-sac where the road just turned I could go to all the houses.
Right.
And through the middle of it, there was a huge field. And gangs would go over there and fight.
Okay.
And if I was walking across the street, or if one of the elderly was walking across the street, they would stop.
Just mid-fight, would stop.
Just stop, and we would walk through, because they fought in our parking lot.
Okay.
And chains.
Weren't you pregnant at that time?
No, I had just had my little boy. But there was chains and all kinds of stuff. And bars.
Oh my God.
I'm sure there was guns and stuff like that, but nobody shot. They all knew that was a nursing home. And they stopped, and when I got inside the building, or when I got finished walking the elderly person across the street, then they started up again. And I could watch them outside my window.
Right.
But they never bothered me. Not one came in to hurt us.
Yeah.
They had enough respect for their elders to know that you just don't do that. They never robbed us or anything.
And you.
Yeah, and they never hurt me. No, not one time. And it was really, really rough. I mean, there were 6-year-olds in that gang who, they saw someone wearing a different colored hat, knowing that it was a rival gang hat, but it wasn't a rival gang. It was actually a 4-year-old in the car, and the 6-year-old shot the 4-year-old because he thought the guy was bent over hiding from them. And he shot him in the head and killed him. Out of the same gang, but they never once stole anything. I had medications in every house that I had to give.
Right.
Had keys to those medication boxes.
Oh, they could have easily just robbed you.
Yeah, I had television, stereos, people had jewelry and money, and no, nothing. Nobody ever did anything. As a matter of fact, I felt safe there because they would watch out for us. So not all people are bad.
No. Like I said, I've been to schools in bad neighborhoods with bad schools with bad people, and
Yeah.
you know, I've had bad experiences, but I've also had really good experiences, and more often than not, the bad experiences were from people who thought that they were better than me because I lived in that part of town.
Yeah.
Like, I would say, they'd be like, where do you live? And I'd be like, oh, I live here. And they'd be like, oh, you live in the slums. Okay, you live with all those black people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I live in a more black populated neighborhood, yeah, but, you know,
Yeah.
I like my neighborhood. You know.
You know what? No.
I got a house.
Yeah.
You know.
Not everyone is perfect, but not everyone is evil. So you have to learn who's bad and who's good, and
there's bad people who live in white collar neighborhoods.
Yeah, and so the gangs that Tupac was associated with were some of the gangs that were right there in that neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And they never...
We're also not sitting here saying join a gang.
No.
I was just want to also really quickly reiterate, don't join a gang.
I'm just saying...
You should try not to.
But I'm saying not everybody in that gang is going to be evil.
No, your circumstance, you know...
Yeah.
Like with Tupac, he didn't have a father figure. So he was constantly, looking for that father figure to fill that void. And he was a small-framed guy. Like, he wasn't... he was muscular. I'm not saying that. But
he was all muscle, but he was just
even
small.
with all those muscles, he was still a small guy. And he would try to take on huge dudes.
Yeah.
And there is oftentimes in gangs a sense of family.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a good home life, sometimes that's your only option.
Exactly.
It's not the best option. And that's why we need to find a way to help that not be the option. You know? That doesn't need to be the best route to go. You know? We need to try to find other ways of helping underprivileged children.
Yeah.
Get to where we're not just saying underprivileged children.
Yeah. Definitely.
We're saying, they need to be provided the same opportunities that other people are. Because where you live should not be what
defines you.
Yeah, it shouldn't, we don't have that classism here in America. We don't like to talk about how we have that.
Yeah.
But we do.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Be honest. If he hadn't had the privilege of going to that one art school, it's untelling what he would have been. He probably would have been a drug dealer. He probably would have, been some huge thug. But that changed his life. And if we can give more people that opportunity, number one thing, we shouldn't care where they come from or what color they are. We should just care that they're people.
Yeah.
Because everybody should be treated like a person.
Yeah. And it's really disheartening.
Yeah. I think that's what his songs were telling us. That he wanted to be treated.
We just turned Tupac into a philosophical...
He's Jesus.
Oh my God. I think
he's a philosophical Jesus.
I would compare, the morals.
Yeah.
A lot of people were talking about, it was like a huge conversation when Childish Gambino came out with This Is America.
Oh yeah.
Because he was highlighting things that is America.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good stuff, but there's also awful and, just awful things that happen here. I mean, Okay, now, not getting political or anything like that, but
because
Not get political.
that's true. Because of a certain orange, we have gotten so off track. You can walk into the store and just say whatever you want to say, and yeah, we still call them a Karen or whatever,
And Kevin is the male
Kevin or Karen, but they still get away with it. They still get to talk like that, and you don't have the right to walk in on somebody and tell them that they're a piece of dirt because you don't like the way they look.
I was actually we were watching this video by a YouTuber. Her name is Stephanie Sue, but it was on her Rotten Mango channel. It was talking actually about the death of these 2 Asian women. They were thrown off a cliff.
Oh, God, yeah.
And one of the comments that she highlighted in her video, which I would go and watch, a very just disgusting.
And it's
case.
a recent
It's a recent case. It's a recent event. It just happened in Germany.
It's ongoing.
It's an ongoing trial. Or I believe he's gotten life in prison. He needs to. That's a whole debate. It's a whole debate. But one of the comments that she was highlighting was one of the dudes said, "Can I be a white supremacist if I like to sleep with Asian women?" Why are you worried about that? Like, the fact that he's so open, this person was so open to say, like, I'm a white supremacist.
Yeah.
Is like, that used to be like a shameful, there's a reason the KKK wear hoods.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want people to know about them. But now they're just whipping
yell.
Sorry.
We live in
a slightly Trumpian neighborhood.
Yeah.
Which is fun.
Yeah, they love the
topics,
orange.
The topics that we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
And
we're not popular.
We're not popular in our neighborhood. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's become so, I agree, it's become so, the dog howling.
It's so, I mean, I'm sitting at the doctor's office, and I had broken my foot, and I could hear in the back room the doctor talking to her patient, and they were just describing how it was horrible that, there was 3 black people in their town, and how could they get rid of them? And it's like,
what the hell?
Why are you worried about what they're doing? They're not going to rob you. They're not going to, I mean, they're good, decent people.
Yeah.
They own their own home. They bought their home.
Yeah.
I mean, they were worried about them selling drugs on the corner to their kids. And I'm like, really? She's 50 and he's 60. And their kid is like 19.
Yeah, I don't know what drugs they were trying to sell.
And she was going to school. She was going to college.
Just people, I've had experiences with, we were on a road trip to, and we were in Louisiana, and
oh my God.
I'll never forget this. I've had a couple experiences, but I held the door open because I was born in the South, I was raised in the South, and my mama taught me manners.
You respect your elders.
When I see an older person, doesn't matter how much older, but if I think you're older than me, or even if you're younger, but most of the time, if you're an older person, I'm going to hold the door open for you, because that's just how I was taught. And so I hold the door open for this man, and he was so genuinely shocked that a white woman held the door open for a black man that he was like bumfuzzled.
He didn't know what to say. He said,
"Who was trying to call me?" He was so shocked.
Yeah.
And that kind of made me so sad, because it's like, that's something that I wouldn't even think twice about.
Yeah.
I didn't think twice about it. I just held the door open for a person.
And you shouldn't. It shouldn't matter
the fact that, that was like, he was like, in all of my 58 years of life, no white woman's ever done that for me. And that hurt me.
Yeah.
Because that shouldn't be.
Yeah.
I shouldn't.
Is there no respect?
Yeah.
Do the younger generation have no respect? I mean,
well, a lot of times it's some of the old generation too.
Oh, the older generation are all the
younger generation and the older generation. They're equally trashy. I'm just saying, we're all trash people.
I think we need to do better, and I think we've gotten way off the subject, but.
Well, it's on a subject, off the subject.
Yeah, because I think that it doesn't matter. I mean, yeah, I look. You wouldn't think that I like rap, but I do.
Actually, when I was going to school a lot, some of the kids that were in my class, they actually were playing like a song, and I was like, oh, isn't that Tupac? Isn't that this song by? I think it actually was a Tupac song, and they were so shocked that I actually knew, because I mean, like, I looked like a nerd.
Yeah.
And it, I learned it from my mom.
I really don't care what color you are.
If you make good music, you make good music.
Exactly. It shouldn't be an issue, and I think that, I mean, there's only a few people that I don't listen to, and I only really listen to 3 white rappers. Really. I
think just Eminem for me.
Well, there's a guy, I can't remember his name right now, but he's just recently started making music.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I can't remember his name.
Melvin or something like that, and he's pretty good.
I just, that was another thing that somebody said in that one of the interviews I was watching. They were saying how his music was talking about, black struggles, and white people were relating to it, and everybody could relate to what he was talking about, because everybody gets sad, and everybody's been discriminated against in some form, whether it's about your skin color, your sexuality, what color hair you've got, what color eyes you've got, whether you're a woman or a man, everybody has had some sort of discrimination against them.
Yeah.
And I think everybody can identify with feeling anger towards that.
Exactly. As a woman in the South, I've felt that so many times, because like a landlord would be like, you want to rent from me? Where's your husband? You don't have a husband? Who pays your bills?
Me. Me.
I do, fool. I mean, but they look down on you, and so no, I don't know the struggle that he went through, because it was 10 times worse for him. My skin is a lot easier on their eyes than his was.
Yeah.
But I would like to think that I would be compassionate enough for him to where I would just love to have a conversation.
Oh my God, that would be awesome.
And I would think that people would assume that he is like, I would equate him with Martin Luther King.
I think in terms of like, you've got to put him up there against some of, in the documentary that I was watching, they compared him a lot to rock or rock artists. And I think, that because like rock and roll also gets a lot of stigmatism of like, oh, you guys are like Satanists.
Yeah.
There's all that kind of stuff. And as a person who is, one of my most favorite genre is, heavy metal or like rock and roll. I they were talking about one time, in the interview, there was all these kids, doing the gun symbol at his concerts, and that's, to me, is the same thing as you doing the, it's,
I mean,
the fact that all of these kids in his time and after his time could come together and all agree on, we like this person.
Yeah.
And instead of turning that anger towards, going out and being violent,
yeah,
they were turning that anger into going to concerts and supporting him.
Yeah, because he wasn't. I don't think he was promoting violence.
Well, I mean, there was a lot of violence in his songs.
Yeah, but I don't think that he would want a 4 or 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old out here, having a gun.
No.
We get that enough from the rednecks,
Or the fake hillbillies. Or fake rednecks.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, that's a thing. If you want my opinions on fake country people, trust me.
Yeah.
I got words.
But there's no way to describe. I mean, I think that his music will live in infamy. I think he will live in infamy. And Tupac, if you can hear me.
Oh my God.
I need to come to your island. I promise. I'll keep it quiet.
He's not alive. He's dead. I'm just happy that now he's going to get justice, and we're going to get clarification. The people who loved him and who are close to him are finally going to get that sense of, somebody is going to go and get justice for what happened.
Yeah.
He's not just going to be another,
story.
Well, he's also not just another, I can't even put my words together. He's not just he didn't want to be a statistic.
No, but I think he knew that he was going to die young.
Well, he said he was going to die.
Yeah. I think he was too good. It was like,
There was actually, after he died, when he started the day he was shot, or the night he was shot, and went on for 10 days.
Wow.
After that, they actually were calling it a war because there were people just shooting each other, beating each other up. Like, there was this group, had something to do with it. And I think that the whole, having the two rival gangs in it also made it a very turbulent time.
Well, I mean, wasn't it Biggie that only lived 6 months after?
Yeah, he died. He was killed shortly after.
Yeah, they said that he was the one that did it, so they took him out in a rival shooting.
Yeah,
a drive-by. I mean,
I think finally we're gonna get some answers, because this is something that I've always been curious about how one of America, or if not the world's biggest rappers, could be shot down in the middle of the street, in the middle of Vegas at night. Vegas don't go to sleep.
Yeah.
It's always up. And not a dang person saw anything. Everyone's like, we only saw a white Cadillac. We don't know anything else.
The biggest,
the most photographed man at the time in America, and there's no pictures, videos, nothing.
I mean, it was at a traffic light, which should have had cameras.
There was traffic,
and it was on a busy street.
It was on the Vegas Strip. Outside.
How could they
casinos?
How could they not have?
Because Diddy paid him off.
Oh, Diddy.
There's a whole lot going on with him too. So
we will. I think we should leave it here and come back to you with an update as soon as we get it.
I want to watch all of the court stuff.
Yeah.
It's just been a hectic couple of weeks here.
Yes. I'm sorry that I haven't been more active. I have allergies, as you can see. My eyes are blurry. My nose is runny. And I just keep sinking further and further down into this chair. So I'm so sorry.
We will see you next time, and maybe with a more spooky Halloween-esque podcast.
Yes.
Maybe we will do another deep dive into another rapper who has mysteriously died or had some sort of thingy.
Maybe we'll look into Biggie.
There's a lot going on with that one too.
Yeah.
We literally named our cat after Biggie.
Yeah.
So, we will see you next time, and this is how we see it.
Have a great night. Or day.